Question number 28. It reads, the dash student was sent home by the teacher. Option A, undisciplined. Option B, indisciplined. Option C, undisciplined. And option D, indisciplined. In case you don't know, this question is from the topic confusable words. Confusable words. First of all, the one that begins with on should always end with a D. In other words, the one that begins with the prefix on should always be written as undisciplined. Undisciplined. It should always end with a D. Therefore, option A is wrong because there is no word as undisciplined. It should always be undisciplined. It should always end with a D. Also, the one that begins with the prefix in should never end with a D. In other words, the one that begins with the prefix in should always be written as indiscipline. Indiscipline. There is no word as indisciplined with a D ending. It should always be indiscipline. Therefore, option B is wrong because the one that begins with the prefix in should never end with a D. It should always be indiscipline. In summary, this question wants us to choose between undisciplined and indisciplined. And in case you don't know, these two words are two of the confusable words we have in English. That is why this question is from the topic confusable words. In case you don't know, the words undisciplined and indisciplined have the same meaning. Both of them have to do with a lack of discipline. A lack of discipline. They carry the same meaning, which is a lack of discipline. The difference between both of them is they do not exist in the same part of speech. Their meanings are the same, which is a lack of discipline, but their parts of speech are different. Undisciplined exists as an adjective. It is an adjectival word. While indiscipline exists as a noun. It is a noun word. So, they have the same meaning, which is a lack of discipline, but they do not have the same part of speech. Undisciplined existing as an adjective, while indiscipline existing as a noun. Whenever an English question wants you to choose between undisciplined and indisciplined, I have a shortcut. All you need to do is fill the gap in the question with the words disobedient, disobedient, and disobedience. Disobedient and disobedience. And check which one will conveniently enter the gap. The truth is, these two words will not enter the gap conveniently at the same time. Only one of these two words will conveniently enter the gap at a time. So, fill the gap in the question with these two words and check which one will conveniently enter at that point. If the gap can conveniently be filled with the word disobedient, then the answer to the question is undisciplined. Undisciplined. This is so because disobedient is an adjectival word. Same way, undisciplined is an adjectival word. So both of them match each other. But if the gap in the question can conveniently be filled with the word disobedience, then the answer to the question is indiscipline. Indiscipline. This is so because disobedience is a noun. Same way, indiscipline is a noun word. So both of them match each other. Let us apply these shortcuts to the question with a view to answering it correctly. If you look at the question, you will find out that the gap in the question can conveniently be filled with the word disobedient. Disobedient. So that I can say the disobedient student was sent home by the teacher. The gap in the question cannot conveniently be filled with disobedience because I cannot say the disobedience student was sent home by the teacher. The gap in the question can only conveniently be filled with the word disobedient because I can say the disobedient student was sent home by the teacher. And we have said that if the gap in the question can conveniently be filled with the word disobedience, then the answer to the question is undisciplined. Undisciplined. For that reason, the correct option for this question is option C, undisciplined. So that the question reads, the undisciplined student was sent home by the teacher. I believe that is understood. Let us look at one or two more questions so that you will understand better. Let us look at this question. It reads, there is a growing evidence of dash among the troops. Option A, indiscipline. Option B, undisciplined. Option C, indisciplined. And option D, undisciplined. First of all, we said that the word undisciplined should always end with a D. It should be undisciplined. It should always end with a D. There is no word as undisciplined without a D. It should always end with a D. It should be undisciplined. For that reason, option D is wrong. So this is wrong. It should always be undisciplined. It should always end with a D. Also, we said that the word indiscipline should never end with a D. It should be indiscipline. It should never end with a D. For that reason, option C is wrong because the word indiscipline should never end with a D. It means that this question wants us to choose between option A, indiscipline, and option B, undisciplined. If I apply the shortcut of putting these two words, disobedience and disobedient, in the gap and checking which one we conveniently enter, I will find out that it is disobedience that can conveniently enter the gap in the question, so that I can say there is a growing evidence of disobedience among the troops. The word disobedience, the one that ends with a T, cannot conveniently enter the gap in the question because I cannot say there is a growing evidence of disobedience among the troops. It does not make any sense grammatically. It is disobedience that can conveniently enter the gap because I can say there is a growing evidence of disobedience among the troops. And we have said that if the gap in the question can conveniently be filled with the word disobedience, then the answer to the question is indiscipline. Indiscipline, the one that does not end with a D. So if you look at the options, you will find out that the correct option is option A, indiscipline. So that the question reads, there is a growing evidence of indiscipline among the troops. I believe that is understood. Let us look at the next question number.